I started racing with my grandpa. Dad put me on to racing, so I don't know. It's a fun sport, good sport. It's a good sport to get in. I don't know. It's just something I fell in love with at a young age. I just fell in love with the sport. It's really, yeah.
Well, one thing you mentioned right there is your grandfather and then your father and now you. That's kind of common within racing. Talk about that moment that you fell in love. When did it click that you're like, man, I really want to drive race cars?
Driving the car. Driving the car for the first time clicked. I just fell in love with racing and it's going to go farther from here, so yeah.
What was that first experience? Where were you? What kind of car were you behind? And walk us through that.
I was actually behind this car and I was at this track. It's a good track. It's a good track to learn at. It felt, the way it felt, I don't know, it just felt different it just felt different from playing normal sports. The sport felt different, more, how do I say it, more adrenaline going through your body. It's a very adrenaline sport. It's fast, fun. Yeah.
One thing you said right there is that it is a sport, and for a lot of people out there, they don't consider racing a sport, but you and I both know that there is a lot of physical, mental demand on the body. Could you walk those race fans who might not quite have that understanding what it means to drive one of these cars in hot temperatures for lap after lap?
It takes a lot, when it's 100 degrees outside, this car can get up to 130 inside, so just imagine that inside of a fire suit. It's going to get hot. And people say it's not a sport, but once you get behind the wheel, you're going to say it's a sport. So, to me, it's a sport. It's a hard sport. Fast, too. It's a fast sport. One of my favorite sports.
Well, now, one thing I was talking to your dad with about a couple minutes ago was that you're trying to get other people into this sport. Heard you just got a friend, a car. What was that experience like, and how excited are you to race side by side with him?
That was a good experience. That felt good because, yeah, it's going to feel good racing side by side with him because, we do it in the video games a lot, but now it's real life. It felt good buying him a car because, him, money tight right now for him, so to get him out there, it feels nice. It's a relief.
Now, you are in one of the biggest, most competitive classes here at Stockton 99. Could you kind of walk us through what it's like to compete in the NorCal Mini Stock Series and one of the things that sets it apart from other classes?
This class is different. It's fun because it's not that expensive. It's cheap. It's a lot of drivers. There's a lot of people who do it because it's cheap. It's very competitive too. Very competitive. There's a lot of competitive people out here that are trying to win the race. So tonight, hoping I survive. Hopefully I can get this car back on the trailer how it came off the trailer and just go from there.
Now, one more thing I do want to ask you is, you said it is an incredibly competitive class. A lot of drivers are out here, but more and more drivers could potentially be interested. Like you said, it is one of our most cost-effective classes. What would you tell to someone who might be thinking about potentially wanting to get into racing?
This is a good class to start out with. It's not too fast, not slow. For sure, it's not slow. It's a good class to learn in. I'm glad I started in this class. I'm glad I started racing this car. It's a fast car. And yeah, hopefully next season I won't be racing this. So hopefully next season I'll be in a different car, different class. So, but for somebody, I'd say start in one of these cars. Cheap, not expensive, cheap, fun, somewhat quick, competitive, really competitive. All these tracks are competitive. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like you said, competitive. Now, who are some of the people you'd like to thank today?
My dad, my grandpa, whole racing team, my uncle Mike. He's the one who bought this car for me. I really thank him for everything he's done. I want to thank mostly I want to thank my dad though for putting me in this sport, helping me out, supplying me with the parts, getting me into this track. I really want to thank my dad.